Co-hosting. See, now we're starting all over again now. Ladies and gentlemen.
A series of technical difficulties has apprised me of the fact that I wasn't really prepared to do what I'm doing right now, but I am now prepared to do what I'm doing right now. So if you're prepared to do what I'm doing right now, then we are prepared to do what we are doing right now. If that doesn't make sense, I'll get back to me. So we have somebody who's going to do the announcements, but I'm going to read Proposition 1. Bist thou ready? Bist? Stop that. Proposition 1. Whereas warfare is the worst of all crimes, in that it embodies courage and rewards all others. Whereas the definition of war used at the Nuremberg trials is meet for the purposes of this proposition. Therefore, we, the party of the first part, all citizens of any nation, all those who suffer from the effects and privations of war, who oppose it as a system, as a behavior, as a socially accepted institution, call for an end to war, cessation of all hostilities, and the standing down of all military forces, universal disarmament. Further, let it be known that we, the people, the party of the first part, state, by our assertion at this time and place, that we stand opposed to the existence or use of military force as we know it. All those in favor of Proposition 1, please signify. Aye. All those opposed? Abstentions? There should be at least one abstention. My friend says nothing should be. Thank you. All right.
Red did one.
Yes. Somebody did. Anyway, so that takes care of that. I thank you. And now the person who's going to read the announcements will step forward. Then we'll kick off the open mic in a style we've come to be known as stylish.
Okay. Give him a round of applause. This is Red coming up here bravely.
Welcome to Sacred Ground with Dan Brady as the current host of the longest running open mic in the known and unknown universe. Stirring up good food and fine poetry since 1972. Let's have a big hand for Ted and Fiona, our hosts. And please support this reading by enjoying the food and drinks served here. Please respect the mic. Keep conversations to a whisper. Put devices on mute, vibrate, or airplane mode. Thank you. Yeah. Tonight's feature is...
Tonight's feature is Nanette Dietz, who is on her way, unless she walked in without me seeing her.
Okay. Who will give the Queen's wave
when she arrives.
The keynote will be
Hal Robbins, who's in the house.
Hal Robbins.
Hal Robbins, where are you?
While the mini feature is...
The mini feature is Clyde Always, who is always Clyde, and that's why we call him Clyde Always.
And the last word will be by...
I don't know if we have a last word. Does someone take that? Well, the last word will be whoever is last then.
The last word will be whoever is last, okay? Please note the link. Streaming is handy in many ways. If you can't be here, you can view in. If you want someone to see you live, they'll be able to. Want to hear so and so's poem again, you can. Want to do a self-critique, no problemo. More importantly, it is a way to put out the word. I refer to the ongoing theme. Never doubt that a small group of committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Margaret Mead.
Thank you.
Tonight's theme is...
Yes, the evening's theme for this, or it's actually the theme or prompt, just to let you know, it's going to be changing up like that. Acting, urbane.
Acting.
Oh, no, not just one acting, sorry. I wanted to say that carefully. Acting, urbane.
Okay.
And Brittany is the co-pilot this evening.
Okay.
Are you our feature this evening? Our feature has arrived. Give her a round of applause. Thank you.
All right. And then fabulous door prizes are...
This is a door prize.
Okay. All right, fabulous door. Can you sign in over there? We got to get the... No, take this. Just sign over there. The door prizes. Thank you. Sorry about that. So when I do that in my first grade class, I always do the ums. Narcissism, Denial of the True Self by Alexander Lowen, M.D. A groundbreaking study that will relieve hidden anxieties and heal the tension between mind, body, and feelings. I know someone who can use that. I Love My Body, a 30-day affirmation guide to a healthy beautiful body by Louise L. Hay.
Oh, I want that.
Hey,
I need that.
Yeah, you need that one. Sorry about that.
I've got to have that. Yeah, you do. Actually.
Toasting the Hunt, poems by Al Nightingale. He's been here several times. This is the classic of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. My Dateless Diary by R.K. Narayan. This was published in 1960, and I actually read the first few pages, and then I skipped it. The writing is good. Here and there there's grammatical errors, but the writing's good. And then The Happiness Project, a New York #1 bestseller. This rare book is one that will make you both smile and think you need to go to the bathroom. No, that's not on there. Happiness Project, very nice. And this was just handed to me. Subhuman, Ed Holmes will perform his one-man show, Subhuman, True Tales from Beneath the Sea, at our home base. This show is about his days as a mechanic aboard a vessel submarine in the 60s, my goodness, and has been performed in VFW halls, bars, small theaters, and from here to Maine. And this, I guess, is
two passes.
2 passes. This contains 2 passes to that show. Then Wildlife and The World at the End of the Rainbow, those are all theirs. And if those don't float your boat, you can choose next week's theme, which of course this week is Acting or Bane. Have the Last Word, which no one chose, darn it. The mini feature, which is Clyde Always Tonight. Keynote, which is Hal. And the co-pilot with the intriguing Brittany as my co-pilot this evening. That's what we have to offer. And now I am done.
Last little bit. If you wish to record someone, please ask permission. I will assume that you have done so, should I notice recordings being made. That is all. Let's enjoy the night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. My mother thanks you, and my brothers. Okay, now will the keynote of the evening kindly step forth or fifth. Mr. Hal Robbins, give him a round as he comes up here. Always wonderful, amazing, fantastic, magical, and I'll stop because no one's listening to me anyway.
Always.
I know.
You're not going to go on a long time, are you?
Well, Halloween is coming at us, whether we like it or not. And of course, it seems they put the decorations up earlier every year. What happened to having a quiet Halloween at home? At any rate, in obeisance to that, and I'm going to say The Raven as my keynote by Edgar Poe. Once, upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary, over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, as I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as if something gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I murmured, rapping at my chamber door, merely this, and nothing more. Ah, distinctly I remember, it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly had I sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore, for a rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels name Lenore, nameless here forevermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never dreamed before, so that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door, some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door, merely this, and nothing more." Open here I flung the shutter, when with many a flirt and flutter in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Not the least obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with mien of lord or lady perched above my chamber door, perched upon a bust of Pallas just above my chamber door, perched and sat and nothing more. Then this ebony bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, from the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore. Though thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou, I said, art sure no craven, ancient grim and ghastly raven, wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore. Then the bird said, Nevermore. Much I marveled this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevancy bore, for one cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door, bird or beast upon the sculptured bust above his chamber door, with such name as Nevermore. But the raven, sitting lonely on the placid bust, spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word he would outpour. Nothing farther than he uttered, not a feather than he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, Other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Startled by the stillness broken by reply so aptly spoken, Doubtless, said I, what it utters is its only stock and store, got from some unhappy master, whom unmerciful disaster followed fast and followed faster, till his songs one burden bore, till the melancholy dirges of his hopes the burden bore of never, nevermore. But the raven, still beguiling all my fancy into smiling, straight I wheeled the cushioned seat in front of bird and bust and door. There upon the velvet sinking I betook myself to linking fancy unto fancy, thinking what this bird of yore, what this grim and ghastly, gaunt and ominous bird of yore meant in croaking Nevermore. This I sat engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing to the fowl whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining as I took my ease, reclining on the cushion's velvet lining, with the lamplight gloating o'er, but whose violet velvet lining with the lamplight gloating o'er she shall press, nevermore. Then methought the air grew denser, perfume from an unseen censer swung by seraphim whose footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. Wretch, I cried, thy God hath lent thee, by these angels he hath sent thee respite and nepenthe from these memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh quaff, this kind nepenthe, and forget the lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still if bird or devil, whether tempter sent or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore, desolate yet all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on this home by horror haunted. Tell me truly, I implore, tell me, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me truly, I implore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still if bird or devil, by that heaven that bends above us, by that God we both adore, tell his soul with sorrow laden, if within the distant Aidenn it shall clasp a sainted maiden, whom the angels name Lenore, clasp a rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels name Lenore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Be that word our sign of parting, bird or fiend, I shrieked upstarting. Get thee back into the tempest and the night's Plutonian shore. Leave no black plume as a token of that lie thy soul hast spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit the bust above my door. Take thy beat from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas just above my chamber door, and his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming casts his shadow on the floor, and my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore. Thank you.
Just so you know, when you read something by someone else, I hand you the attribution sheet so you can let me know who the author was. So I don't always say, Charge of the Light Brigade by Old Blue Eyes and things like that. And who is next, my dear?
Next is Steve O'Carroll.
Steve O'Carroll. Steve.
I didn't know if that was an N or a comma or something.
It is a comma.
So, you know.
There's a comma.
Yeah.
I love Dan Aykroyd's dancing in the Blues Brothers, with his knees splayed sideways like he had a bread box between his legs, jumping around like a lizard on a hot griddle. He gets to a common greasy spoon, and he orders the least greasy thing on the menu, dry white toast he can crush with his molars. I loved it in the remake, unfortunately without his brother Blue, when he comes up out of the sea in an amphibious car, and he drops a small fish out of the driver's side window on the beach. He dances with great joy in the first movie to be with his gifted, guffawing brother John. Dan, or Elwood, keeps saying in a deep mechanical voice, "We're on a mission from God." Practically his only lines amid the many car crashes. Once I saw Dan Aykroyd and his beauty queen wife. It was Earth Day, crowds on 59th Street, Manhattan. Dan went by seemingly on another mission, fast, with a child in his arms. I shouted, "Hey Dan, it's me!" He did not slow down the least bit. He forged ahead. His wife, confused, looked back. My uncle James Clarkin, brother to my mother, was a captain in the Navy. He said he ate square meals when he was training to be an officer. Raised the fork straight up, then across to the mouth. Once in Newport, we looked over a harbor at my cousin Maggie's wedding feast, and he said, "Ah, the sea, like the sea was alive and had to be given its due of great respect." He ran a guided missile destroyer. His wife asked him, "What did the missiles do?" He said, "They killed Viet Cong." And so it went. He offered to pay for 3 golf lessons so I could learn to swing a club right from the beginning. Once he and I and my cousin Monica walked from the 72nd Street Broadway subway to the Dakota, where John Lennon's blood will always be on the sidewalk. Uncle Jim was so kind. He held Monica's hand all the way there and all the way back. I was stupefied by his kindness that lives on even now here. Let me turn and return to a happy, even say it a happier time, when we young artists drove cab for good money in Frisco, where we could wait in the lot at the airport for an hour or so until we got the ride back to the city, always it seemed in sunshine. Dave Nugent, Bob Sloat, my brother Mark and I would throw frisbees around the lot, and nobody much minded if it hit their windshield. The frisbee glowed like an orange sun, disappearing over Ocean Beach. Terrific, rapid. Chang and his beautiful daughter with long black hair sold good food out of his silver truck. Fried trick chicken from glassine wax paper bags. Did we smoke marijuana? I suppose we did. But we drank Cokes and orange juices and waited, then moved the cars up to see who we would meet on the run back to the city. No cares. Tragedy far away in Vietnam.
Thank you, Steve O'Carroll. Give it around. Thank you. And
Next up is Buford.
Buford Bunting. And while he's coming up, let me let you know after Buford we got Karen, Owen, LG Ross. Oh, okay. So who's new? We got to give him the treatment. We got Wendy, Stephanie, AMAPOLA. Amapola.
Yeah.
Oh, so another newbie, another treatment. And then Candace. Oh, she's gonna read. And then we got Richard. Oh, I'm in there. And then Nanette, our feature. So I'm sorry I did all that just so people know where they are and I don't forget my place. All right.
This was not my best title, but I just came up with it, and because this is really what it's about. It's called The Transition of Jock Seasons. I don't look like one, but I have been a jock, so I'm into that stuff, a little bit. As an umpire in high school, I needed respect and commanded it on various playgrounds. This led to a playground coaching job that helped put me through college. On one playground, I mentored and demanded fair treatment by officials, umpire and referees and opposing coaches. I'm not impartial about the Warriors and the Giants. They, as far as I am concerned, are always right. And if you saw the game last night, it was horrible. They lost 122 to 121 because of a lousy call by the officials.
No, it was a good call. They were slow. They were slow.
Oh, fuck that. Okay. Somebody said at the shot at the buzzer last night that it didn't count, and I disagree. Everything should count for my favorite team's favor. Steve Kerr and Bruce Bochy are, as far as I'm concerned, always right.
And now will Karen Melander Magoon hold fourth or fifth? Because I just, I got up and do the whole thing. I'm an old man.
I know you do this.
What?
You do this kind of acrobatic thing with the microphone. I'm not into that.
Do you need an assistance?
I think is that seems to me okay?
Yeah, I think as soon as I finish doing my idiocy over here.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm calling this Autumn Leaves, which is, it's got that double meaning, autumn pages, autumn leaves, but it's impressions of autumn. So, October. The sky hangs gray. October veils infinite shades of white weave themselves through afternoon chill. Skeletal limbs of naked trees stand strangely unperturbed, silent witness to forgotten dreams. Ecstatic dash of sun. A grid beyond my window sparkles, hurting my eyes. White, bright echo of sunlight shines indomitably. A single dash of ecstatic light remains glowing, showing only light, spreading, as shadows tread quietly, led by Icarus, falling from the sun into lengthening shades of gray. Synthetic time. Time is timeless, and yet measured as we would measure thought, love, minutes. A synthetic reminder of constraints we place on others, others place on us. Forgetfulness, memory, stasis, growth, early, late, Loss, gain, remain, now, timeless time. Rainbows. We speak of rainbows ahead when the world seems bleak, leaking gold around the edges of twilight, or blue tears damping the dawn, reflecting prisms. I wanted to see the stars, but they were hidden behind drenched, hanging rain clouds. I wanted to see the moon, but she was elusive, coquettishly veiled behind those same soft curtains of mist. So I reached up to the sky and flung my net, imagining to catch her mystery, at last subsumed in the dark and damp enigma of a heavy night. A dance. Fragments of a life drink memories, see sounds, feel colors, dream noise, wandering among warriors, dancing ideas. Looking for the moon. I look for the moon tonight, hidden behind night fog, forgetting her own glow, reflected from a fiery sun, gave away her hiding place, a soft, bright, foggy disk of veiled moon. Leaves. Appropriately, the last one. This is my favorite. He ran along the sidewalk, hugging a large leaf to his chest, very proud of his large, crinkly leaf. A small girl ran behind, trying to catch up, clutching a tiny leaf in her left hand, almost losing her balance, but not her leaf. Thank you very much. You might know I have two children, and the girl is younger. They're a lot older now. I mean, these are, we won't go into that, but they're big kids. And I got grandkids too, so.
Well, they must be very.
I know all about leaves and things.
Leaves and things. Thank you, Karen. All right.
Up next is Owen.
Owen Dunkel.
Owen.
Well known in many open mics in the city and beyond.
Okay, can everybody hear me?
Yeah. Hey,
I'll read this one again. Buford says he likes it. James Liddy, a memoir. James Liddy was a creative writing instructor I took 2 classes from at San Francisco State way back in '68. He was a native of Ireland, County Roscommon, a poet and a barrister. He held classes at a small cottage on Waller Street in The Hague. He liked my work and we became friends. He was honest in his criticism of my poetry. No, Wally, they're an ego trip, he would say of some rivals. Stan Rice, the late Stan Rice, was one of his rivals. I was a pale goblet stem of a boy. A pale goblet stem of a boy indeed. Decadent rubbish, Wally. He was honest with me concerning my poetry. That was bad, Wally, he said of my poems that tried to be mystical in an Eliot-esque way, but ended up being vague and semi-nonsensical. Mars and Scorpio. Dark gray clouds, fair Paris dragged to the streets of Troy, the head of Agamemnon impaled on a pole. Brave Achilles sulks in his tent, sword and buckler hanging from the shadows of a dark sun, as a beautiful Jewish woman saunters into the library as a death-like old crone. The proud give their prosthetic apparati to a Trojan horse, but succeed in getting shafted like a nude flagpole sitter. Radical politics and war are cut from the same steel cape and are making the same scene. Death and mask confusion fall fair Prometheus to his island of aloneness and aloofness, talking like Auden and his cellar himself. To a wooden diadem, a box within a box, a play within a play, your mind a set of wooden sticks that go by 2 by 2. Hip hop, hip hop. I think, I thought, who was munching, lunching, and crunching. It was bad form to commit a solecism. This poem a mad solecism hiding in the dark mummy wheat that cannot say it was bad form. Bad form searching for its karma. To a land of Oz. Black sand evolving to an arrow blue sky, piercing Brobdignagians disguised as dwarfs signal each other to race like boy and girl towards the elegant, commanding, always insistent surf, corroding, whispering, and frolicking towards the fascination of our cathedral of plenitudes. Black sand searching, reacting with deep longing fingers to forgive another sleight of hand love affair with nothing. Not even the air we wave our arms about in the jaunty ablutions of our devil-may-care catharsis of nothingness. Nothingness we forget to remember with all the love and joy we gracefully refuse to turn our backs on. Terpsichore, living nature of will slipping and gambling towards a provocative Old Testament. As I forget the windy soul of the villanelle, I forget buzzing and banging in and out of loose shutters. Lord Winter. Winter, that drunk old lord, comes in November to fill its cup. Leaves fall before its sword. A bleak denouement, a fat old gourd, pebbles tenderized look up to Winter, that drunk old lord. A salty tail brandishes its reward. Plants drink their false up. Leaves fall before its sword. We are the unison of a quiet accord, a sorrow like a frozen syrup of winter, that drunk old lord. Like a scent of summer that roared its sun-sense and devilish pup, leaves fall before its sword. Evening passes us a fretful chord, as hearts stand the season up, to winter, that drunk old lord, leaves fall before its sword.
Thank you, Mr. Dunkel.
Thank you very much.
All right. Yes. So, in case people don't know, there are people who are new here. One of the traditions we have here is if you're reading for the first time at the open mic, we cheer them on wildly, not quite rudely. But, we animal noises, pounding of tables, clinking of glasses, huzzahs, cheers, and such like that. So bring up L.G. Ross, please, for the first time in the night. Welcome.
Thank you. With your kind permission, I'd like to do a little stand-up comedy.
Oh, okay.
Some of you saw my act just a couple nights ago. Sorry that it's going to be repetitious. I just read in last month's Health and Fitness magazine that they're now saying the intake of too much water in a relatively short period of time can lead to death. Yeah, I think we all knew that. It's called drowning. A little something about myself. I was born with a birthmark on my fingernail, but I outgrew it. As a kid, I slept in polyester pajamas on satin sheets. Every time I wet the bed, it turned into a slip and slide. I'm 5'10", 6'2", in stilettos. For those of you wondering. I come from a long line of The umbilical cord. My parents raised me as if I was their own. I'm an only child. Well, except for my brother. How many of you have an older brother and or sister? Don't you hate it, especially when you were little? Didn't you hate it when they would try to impart knowledge upon you as if they were so much more wizened just because they're a little older than you? My brother does that to me, and I wouldn't mind it so much were it not for the fact that we're twins. Just wait till you turn 30 in a few minutes. Your whole outlook on that changes, I'll tell you. I'm a recovering non-alcoholic. I belong to a 12-step program. Step 1, admit you don't have a problem. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to confess that I don't have a problem. Step 8, gather together all the family and friends you've hurt over the years and tell them to go fuck themselves. Probably there is something wrong with me. I joke around that. I would go to group therapy, but none of my imaginary friends will go with me, and I won't go alone. I have met some interesting people who've gone to therapy. I once met a cannibal who belonged to Over People Eaters Anonymous. Never took him up on his dinner invite. I see no point in living a pessimistic life. I'm pretty sure it wouldn't work anyway. I'm not a very religious person. If I loved my neighbor the same way as I loved myself, I'd be giving hand jobs all day long. Growing up, my family and I lived near a cemetery, which was a bit scary for me as a child, but it made it really easy to bring home flowers on Mother's Day. I love my parents. If I ever have children, a girl and a boy, I'm going to name them after my parents. I'm going to call them Mom and Dad. They're going to be so proud. That and pay for a lot of therapy. I don't wish to sound indelicate, but have you ever taken a shit and after one application of tissue, you discovered you don't need any more? I live for days like that.
Yeah. That's right.
You know, I just know that this bevy of beauties right here, and I can't help but thinking, girls, 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 you gotta love them, because if you don't, you're gay. I myself am bisexual. I like to have sex twice a day. Oh, I got a snap. I like that.
I'll do a snap.
Actually, I'm really trisexual. I try to have sex twice a day. I need to try a lot harder. I'll leave you on this. Earlier today, I was chewing on a Viagra, and a piece of it got stuck between my teeth. Now I have a stiff upper lip. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Reggie Ross. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And now,
The lovely Wendy.
a very nice introduction. Is that good?
Actually, good?
Yeah. All right. Make sure you're okay.
So, before I read anything or say anything, I I do want to send out to the world, since we are on the internet, that my thoughts and good wishes and prayers, and all of ours, are with everyone in the world who is touched by the fires, or any disasters, the hurricanes, or any disaster, the killings in Las Vegas, and anyone that knew someone that was affected. So I won't be as funny as the last person. That was great. We need comedy. So anyway, this is called Prayer from a Child to the Great Whatchamacallit. Dear whatever you want to be called, I'm a little confused. Why do grown-ups tell me to be safe and use my words, but they are using bullets when they have a problem? Even though I'm told not to be afraid and be brave and never show my feelings, I notice grown-ups are getting angrier and angrier at other grown-ups, and they don't seem very brave about not being afraid at all. Why don't they let themselves cry like I wish they let me do? It feels a lot better than getting really, really mad, and then even madder till I can't stand it. And sometimes, when I feel my feelings, I can even figure out something to say instead of hitting someone. How come grown-ups talk so much about how important it is to be honest when they sound like it's not really so necessary, and they're lying all the time, even to their best friends and people they work with, everywhere they go? And another thing. Grown-ups keep telling me to follow directions, listen to rules, and be careful about people who look or act differently from me, because they might be bad and maybe even hurt me. But their directions and the rules they want me to follow make absolutely no sense. And the people I know who are kids don't look or act like me, yet we all get along fine. What is it grown-ups are trying to teach me if I'm hearing the message to do as they say, not as they do? When it's easy to see they are saying things they're really not doing. So I'm a little confused. Do you think it would be better for me not to grow up? Or maybe find some grown-ups with a kid inside them still, who's a lot smarter and nicer than the grown-ups who grew up and forgot how to be a child? This is a poem I wrote in the past. It's called Apple. Yesterday, you came to mind when I was daydreaming. You arrived center stage in the midst of some other stream of thought. You looked so round, really red, beckoning. Later, when I saw you right there on the shelf, I picked you up, hard and smooth, my hands cupping your fresh, friendly presence. Biting into you was even better than I'd imagined. Crunchy, lush. My words can barely hint of the delicious gift that your memory will never pale. However you got here, from tiny seed in a faraway place to local grocery, full grown, sitting there with countless other apple comrades until I chose you. Your journey, then unknown to me, but now my mouth is savoring each sweet bite of you. Okay, this is a poem I wrote in a workshop given by Sally Saunders at the Cultural Integration Fellowship here in San Francisco. And she suggested the theme of a poem about oneself written without much thought in the next 5 minutes. This is what I wrote. She's light on her feet and soft in voice, often has a big smile with hope in her heart. She's sentimental quite often, loves to dance and write poems, and if you get to know her, you'll find that she roams, not from home, not from haven, but in her thoughts, sure, as she learns about this world its places and times, while sensing great mystery well beyond thought, seeming far and yet close, for the heart can imagine and be free.
Stephanie Manning.
Stephanie Manning to the one courtesy microphone, please. And then we have, is it Amapola, to say right?
Amapola.
Amapola.
Okay, and then myself, and then Richard the Sanderell. Or no,
No Candace. And
oh,
then
Candace,
Richard.
sorry about that. Oops.
Oop. That's why I'm here.
Fail yet again. Thank you for wagging.
It's good to be back. It's nice to see everybody here. And,
Good to see you.
And I'm happy to be here. This is in the Chronicle section, back a ways, and it's a poem by Lynn Thompson, who wrote a book called How Dirge for Murdered Black Girls. And this particular poem is for Sandra Bland, who is a 28-year-old black woman who was found hung in her jail cell after she was arrested for a traffic violation. Oh dear. And it's a villanelle. Very expressive. How lovely the ruins are, beloveds. You, ever you, how ruined the lovely are. America's most unbearable fear, subject to stealth, prey to a Judas kiss, turned ambush. How lovely the ruins. We can't pretend we don't see. We could have been anything they wanted, snuffed out like wicks. How ruined the lovely. How anguished the left behind. The mothers, mourners, others just like them. How lovely the ruins. The promise gone from should have been. The girls laughing, dreaming of, calling out, see you later. How ruined our once lovely thoughts. This anguish continues to happen, of course, from Chattahoochee to the City of Angels. How ruined the lovely. Ruins who some think unlovely. How?
Stephanie Manning.
Thank you, Stephanie. Now, Amapola.
Yeah.
And she is first time here, so let's take care of that. There we go. Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm Amapola, and now I think I'm known as the other person that enjoys a good bowel movement. I really like that because I'm a nurse, and so I just always tell patients that that's like the best thing if you can go. That anyway, I enjoy that job. Yeah, better out than in. But anyway, I'm gonna sing a song a cappella that I wrote. It's called Problem.
Ooh.
Okay. I'm trying hard not to get into trouble, but then I take a shot and I start to see double. And this happens most when I see clarity, but instead I turn into my own parody. And it's cold outside, I think I'll stay inside to hide. When I'm alone and shy, it keeps me warm at night. And I think I got a problem, and I know how to solve it, yeah. But I don't want to do that. I'm too selfish to myself. And I know I got a problem, and I know I need to solve it, yeah. 'Cause they told me all about it. Now it's making my life hell. And now it's getting harder to say hello. Almost as sad as my account, it's getting low. And then these steps are steep and they're getting more hard. I slowly fall back into the reason I fell apart. And it's cold outside. Now everybody knows, they know. When I'm alone at night, I keep the bottle they told me all about it, yeah. But I don't want to solve it. I'm too selfish to myself. And I know I got a problem here, cause they told me all about it, yeah. And I really want to solve it, cause it's making my life hell. Oh, sit up, I don't need I said, and I think I got a problem, yeah, and I know how to solve it, yeah. But I don't want to do that. I'm too selfish to myself, and I know I got a problem, whoa, cause they told me all about it, yeah. And I really want to solve it, cause it's making my life hell. Thank you.
Burning the house down.
See?
Woo!
The only problem is I have to follow it.
The daring Dan Brady.
Thank you. My God.
Wow.
Thank you.
God, I
So
really
get another round.
Incredible.
Boys, jeez. I mean, whew. So, oh, Stephanie, I wanted to give that to you because can you hand that to Stephanie so she can do the actors? Thank you, everyone. I'm going to start off light, then I'll get heavier, and then heavier, then I will sit down. This is called Approximation of Friendship, from a workshop I actually saw it about. Making one honestly true blue dragon would be amazing enough, but if your homework was to make a whole darn universe full of them, well, you'd be wanting help. But a wizard couldn't do it. You'd need a god, to whom this whole job would be like unto the movement of a sand grain, tiny and unseen, inadvertently swept out over a door sill. God's, not yours. Where it would become affixed to the pink goo on a lost watermelon seed that had been lying there in the dappled shade on the infinite back porch for some long time. And although that story might go on and on, which it does, your phantom crisis would thus come to an end, and your head could settle into your fluffy pillow, comfy cozy, whereupon you'd snuggle into sleep. Sweet dreams would go a-dancing in your head, and your heart would ease into wonderful serenity. And now you say, what's he going to do next? Well, this is called Heather, and about halfway through the poem you understand who I am talking to. Heather. Heather is a plant, something common enough, but useful, even valued for healing, for cleansing, refreshing one's living space. Something to be found in the cold wastes of winter, forage that shows itself above the frigid drifts and so provides a lifeline to those in need. It takes hold in difficult ground, survives fire, thriving in its aftermath. But it is also a name which, as any name does, affects its human, imbuing them with its qualities, whether the human knows this or not. It is sentimental, for example, white heather being given for bridal luck. So it is in Miss Hyer's case that her name proved itself in her feet when she walked the walk that day, but innocently for all that, she did not see it coming, even at the very last. And when she lay broken, her passion spreading on display,
but not in pain, having gone on before such could register. It was because all her life she found ways to make a difference for others. And so it was that by leaving this world as she did, she continued on that path for others in a way she could respect. And now, as you suspect, we have a slide, Yana. So that's from a news story for Heather Heyer in honor of her, and this is from another news story. And I wish, as a poet, I wish I didn't have to write things like this, but Untitled. Why are they killed? It's a simple question, really, and today, at this tiny moment, I direct it at the Saudi government. But as you'll soon realize, there are others holding on to the short end of this shit stick. I asked the men there why it's okay to kill their own mothers, sisters, daughters, or lovers for phoning, texting, driving, enjoying the sun on their faces, talking with a friend, for dreaming of a life made up from their preferences, their choices. What does having a sense of humor, laughing beautiful, or wanting the simple things in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness have to do with brutal assaults, murderous battery, rape, slavery, or an acid slap in the face? What is it about family honor? Why, when we hear of their moaning or mournful imprecations, do we not call their men out? How is it that we recuse ourselves, do not ride to their rescue? Is it because of their hijab? Where are the white hats? Yes, all they want are simple things: freedom of the mind, justice for the soul, and unlimited peace in their feeling, emotional hearts. When will we reach out our hands? When will we answer our own big heart's unending call for love? Inquiring minds want to know. In supplication, I proffer these considerations, these notes, to everyone I know. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
And now?
Candace, is it first time?
This is her first time reading! She's been here, but now she's on the mic. And this.
So not only is it my first time here, but my first time reading something that I've written. So, and then a short poem that I like. And both of these are untitled. Be yourself, but don't disobey your elders. They know better. Be yourself, but don't be too unique. You may make others feel uncomfortable. There's a sweet spot in our youth where we laugh.
Hold on a second. The plug came out. That's what was going on. Hold on. Let me just, yes, now there we go. There we go. Let's start all over.
Yeah. Okay. Be yourself, but don't disobey your elders. They know better. Be yourself, but don't be too unique. You may make others feel uncomfortable. There's a sweet spot in our youth where we laugh until we cry. Our imagination runs wild. We speak first and ask questions later, often asking for forgiveness, but not for permission. So what changes? People try to mold us. With their best intentions, they want to make us safe from judgment, from conflict, from scorn. But keeping us safe keeps others sheltered. Don't put up walls for me. Don't build walls for others. Let's stand together in the openness, with the elements hitting our skin, the wind whipping our faces, feeling the warmth of the sun on our souls. We go towards the light. From birth, we emerge from darkness into bright. Light is warmth, hope, happiness, joy. We seek out the light in people and things, anticipating the sun rising each day, the glow of the moon, and the stars on the cityscape. Our mothers and fathers tend to our brilliance. Our loved ones who are skilled at orchestrating our radiance absorb the light, consume the energy, but don't turn away from darkness, for its mere existence makes you luminous.
Oh, wow.
And then this last one is from Erin Hansen. There's freedom waiting for you on the breezes of the sky. And you ask, what if I fall? Oh, but my darling, what if you fly?
And after that, the Richard Sanderell.
Otherwise known as, we call him Richard because his name is actually Richard.
Dude, have you seen him lately anywhere around? I don't know.
What, the motorcycle?
Where's Greg Pons? He knows where he is.
Greg Pond knows where Greg Pond is.
Yeah, but he doesn't know about the other guy.
Oh. With the ankles?
Oh, God, so sad, isn't it?
Nice ankles, though.
Well, I have 4 new ones, but I may only get 3 in. It's kind of a low key tonight, so I may not be doing too much dancing, but this is called Forgiving Our Fathers. Can we forgive our fathers, the ones who are missing in actions, who never really cared, or would have no kid drag them down? Maybe their fathers did the same. For their sons, it's lonely out here. We think about you, but not always in fondness. Can we forgive our fathers, the ones who could no longer cope with life because of what life gives them, or those who just gave up, or who were sent to war and lost most of their sanity, drank, snorted too much to dull themselves, poly-drug use? Can we forgive our fathers, for they know not what they do? Were they too young mentally to understand their role, they null and void? Can we forgive our fathers for their silence, replacing it with teaching treachery from religion, patriotism, militarism? Can we forgive our fathers when they pass, never resolving these issues? Should we? Fire. About all these fires, it's being said all that rain last year caused the underbrush to catch fire. Some truth, but not entirely. When Gringo comes to Turtle Island, native people burn forest floors yearly, burning off dead grass, fallen trees, limbs, leaves. Fire burns cool, throwing carbon into atmosphere, but not more than the mother can handle. The Gringo understood what native people do, but fall days are smoky, not clear. Gringo stops burning the forests. Decades go by, fuel builds on forest floors. Match-lit lightning strikes. Fire burns hotter, longer, faster. Throws more carbon at one time than the mother chokes. Her creatures choke, die. Homes burn into chemicals into our fire and smoke mix. Drive by forest or take the train across Turtle Island and you will see trees dead from drought, disease. As much as 40% of the trees are dead, ready to burn. Our recent fires are only the tip of what will come. No time, date given, when. But the forests are prime, ready to burn. With global weather changes caused by the two-legged, almost anything can happen. The question then is this the road we stay on, or do we do a U-turn, try to go back and take our forests back so that the 7th generation from now will have a world safer than the one we live in?
Woo. Wow.
And the last one probably that I'll have time for is Coyote on the Rise. Coyote's numbers surge. Well, first of all, I have to tell you, I've done a series of Coyote stories, and the first one I tell you why he's here. This is sort of a continuation. Coyote's numbers surged by 3,000% in Chicago. As two-legged, Coyote is skilled in the art of hunting and killing. Differences are Coyote does it to feed, defend themselves, pack. Two-legged does it because it seems their inherent right to do so outside of Coyote's reasons. Coyote, skittish of the two-legged, also remains curious as we of them, but neither should be fooled by our natures. That's why our relationship is strained. We recognize the tricksters we both are, so our Coyote two-legged dance continues. Meanwhile, Coyote's tied up in court. That's right, Coyote's got a lawyer. You took their land, food, now they're here to take you and yours. Coyote also files suit in Coyote courts, going to be a long process. Both are schooled in the law, although Coyote is schooled in both. Two-legged never gives credence to Coyote laws or courts, so they know very little of Coyote law and its complications. Why, you ask, is Coyote taking the risk? Coyote is the one who will lead. He's foolish enough to try. Grandfather Wolf advises him against these moves. Grandfather is cautious. Two-legged constantly tries to annihilate them. The wolves will advise. Their numbers are small. Coyote, however, is populating and is on the move, and as he does, Coyote yips and dances.
Hey,